weapons, BAE, British Aerospace. Saudi Arabia's got to buy a lot of them, weapons, because they got to protect all that oil. And so they got caught. There's a serious fraud office investigation, and the press gets wind of it. And later, what we find out is that Prince Bandar was in the Prime Minister's office, number 10 Downing Street, and made the following threat. He says, according to published reports, that if Tony Blair doesn't call off this fraud investigation into this BAE Saudi Prince-related slush fund, he can't guarantee another 7/7 terrorist bus bombing won't happen in London. Here you have a Saudi prince threatening a sitting prime minister with an act of terrorism in his office, threatening British life. And what did Tony Blair do? He got on all fours and tucked it up the ass! Yeah, fuck me! If you look up scumbag in the dictionary, there's Tony Blair. Tony Blair, the tapeworm. But there's good news. I have good news. I bring good news. Death penalty for bankers. Wu Ying, once one of the richest women in China, was sentenced to death for swindling $57 million from investors. Her crimes included the underground banking, the idea of the rape and pillage of the American of the American financial system, not to mention the American public, by a bunch of overpaid bankers and corporate executives who, after getting a bailout from the American taxpayers, rewarded their misdeeds with millions of bonuses, is galling to say the least. And it's tempting to contemplate sentencing these criminals to life in a prison cell or even an ignominious death, is what the report said. That's a good start. That's a good start. Death penalty for bankers and brokers. That's what we call a deterrent. You need a penalty. The penalty can't be a bonus. Go back to this algorithmic trading and high-frequency trading I mentioned before. Goldman Sachs has a computer that they move next to the New York Stock Exchange on the street. They plug it in. And they engage in front-running with high-frequency trading. They're trading with, 1 million trades a second. And they make $100 million a day siphoning off cash in this way. If I go to your car and I stick a hose in there and I siphon off a liter of petrol, that doesn't mean I'm making a market in petrol. That doesn't mean I'm adding liquidity to the petrol market. That doesn't mean I deserve a bonus. I'm committing a crime. And yet when you do it on Wall Street and you use financial transactions, everyone says it's systemically important. We can't get rid of it. We got rid of it. We don't know what to do. It's all part of this magical derivatives market. Can't go back to anything that's approaching common sense. We can't go back to Glass-Steagall. We can't go back to having accountability. We can't go back to having gold. It's too far gone. It's all paper. We need more paper. We need more Ponzi. We need more. It's not working. It's falling apart, ladies and gentlemen. It's crashing. And up until recently, this was more of a theory that it would crash. Now it's an actuality. It is crashing right now. It's crashed in Greece. It's crashing across Europe. And look, just a day ago, 2 days ago, on Friday in New York, the market is becoming unglued. The Securities and Exchange Commission this weekend said we are putting in some collars, some circuit breakers, because we think there could be a 7 to 10% crash on Monday. 2008 all over again, but much worse, because it'll be sovereign debt. It'll be entire countries going down the chute. And it could have been prevented, it could have been stopped, if, in fact, starting from the very beginning, there was some accountability in the banking sector. Now, the folks who are involved in this are basically psychopaths. They are bred to be pariahs. Some of these names are familiar. Like here's a Larry Summers, right? Who is one of the guys that Barack Obama inherited when he took office. He should have immediately fired, but instead he keeps him on. This is a Larry Summers quote. He says, "The central irony of the financial crisis is that while it is caused by too much confidence, too much borrowing and lending, and too much spending, it can only be resolved with more confidence, more borrowing, and lending, and more spending." Here's Paul Krugman, New York Times. "Alan Greenspan needs to create a housing bubble to replace the NASDAQ bubble." Here's Tony Blair. Tony Blair, the tapeworm. Quote, "I could cash in a lot more than I do." That's real comforting, isn't it? It wasn't blood for oil, no. I just happen to be, working for J.P. Morgan now over in the Mideast, cutting deals in the oil patch. It's a coincidence. Blood for oil, no. I'm Opus Dei now. I'm one with God. God, forgive me. Oh my God. Here's another Paul Krugman. "My proposal is that we have to get a bunch of scientists to tell us we're facing an alien invasion. And in order to be prepared for that invasion, we have to do things like build high-speed rails. And once we recover, we can say, look, there were no aliens." These are the people running the show. If you feel like shit because of austerity, don't blame yourself. Don't blame yourself. If you wake up in the morning and you say, you know what? I feel like shit. It's not you. Yeah. Oh, here's something. Short of cash for lunch? How about a toast sandwich? It's called the austerity sandwich. Scientists have acclaimed it as the cheapest lunch in Britain. It consists of 2 slices of bread surrounding a filling of another slice of bread. And it costs just 7.5 pence. Yes, so great is the chemist's confidence that this is the cheapest sandwich. They are offering £200 to the first person who can come up with a cheaper but edible alternative. How about a fish sandwich, you fucking gaboons? How about a fish sandwich? I feel really satisfied. I feel more satisfied than the toast sandwich. I think the fish sandwich could be the cheapest lunch in Britain. Aside from Branston pickle. By the way, it contains 330 calories compared with 444 calories in a Marks and Spencer egg and watercress sandwich. For the Queen. While you're enjoying a lovely beverage like the Queen's Pussy energy drink. Yes, the Queen's Pussy energy drink. Available in the lobby. Here's now, in Greece, of course, the situation is dire, but there's a food shortage now in Greek prisons due to these budget cuts. There's a supply shortage. Prisoners are about to starve to death, reports prison staff. Not even 1 grain of rice has been left in their warehouses. Now, of course, we know this all leads back to Germany. And where have we seen this before? Yes, the financial problem will be solved with the final solution. Here's Jamie Dimon. He's all upset because people are asking him to curtail his, he said Jamie Dimon defended a banking industry that has been besieged by new rules and the public's contempt. Dimon called a cap on debit card transaction fees the provision of the Dodd-Frank Act, price fixing by the government. That will have the unfortunate consequences of leaving millions of Americans unbanked. You know, think of the cojones on this guy. He's been caught in fraud. He's paid civil penalties in millions of dollars. Again and again and again. And here, the regulators are saying, hey, Jamie Dimon, how about obeying at least one law? And his response is, I'm going to pull the bank accounts of my millions of customers. They're on the street. Well, how does he get to make that choice? He goes to Canada and lectures the Bank of Canada on their policies. He wants them to deregulate more, so it's easier for J.P. Morgan to make money. What authority does he have? What does he think he's doing? Why do we let this guy travel the world and making these grotesque statements? Now, also, let me point out, see how I'm doing on time. I think I've been here for about an hour. Then I want to do some Q&A, if that's okay. Time is an illusion. We'll do Q&A, if that's okay. We'll do some Q&A, if that's okay. Yeah, you like that? Okay, so before I do some Q&A, I'm going to just talk about one final piece of news that I read in the... oh, by the way, here's the spokesperson for... I'm going to talk about one final thing I saw in the newspaper this past week. And it's basically everything's in the paper that you need to know is all in there.